Hi, team. Today we're going to talk about the response to Pearl Harbor. How do Americans find out, and how do we actually declare war in response to one of the most tragic events that's ever happened in American history? This is your grandparents' 9 11, right? Or maybe even your great grandparents' 9 11. This is a day that everybody remembers where they were when this happened, just as many of your teachers remember where they were on September 11th. And I hope that you never have one of these moments, but having those events, right? The shooting of JFK, there are just certain things within our history that people will never, ever forget. And the attack on Pearl Harbor is definitely going to be one of them. Americans are home on a Sunday morning, December 7th of 1941, and they're listening to the radio for church services. They're listening to baseball games, music, different talk shows, and they're just relaxing as a family when all of a sudden they're interrupted and news of this attack comes forward that the United States has been surprised, that we have high casualties, and that we have a new enemy in the Japanese. FDR is going to go immediately to Congress and he's going to ask them to declare war, right? The president cannot declare war. He needs Congress to declare war. And he talks about how yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. That is the famous quote from this. It is a date that will never, ever be forgotten. Was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people will win through absolute victory. This is the key to this. Winning through absolute victory. We will take no other choice from our enemies. They will not have terms of agreement at the end. When we win at the end of World War II, it will be our decision under our terms without any suggestions from our enemy. And that's going to be an influential piece in whether or not we decide to drop the atomic bomb. So in class, we're going to listen to this video together because I think it's really powerful for you to hear FDR and to hear the way that he speaks, along with some visuals of what's going on in the United States now that we are responding. So sorry, I'm just going to flip there. Okay, so Congress is on board, right? This is one of the most serious crises we've ever been in since the Civil War. You can see that the Senate voted 82-0, but the House voted 388-1. So why would there be one person who does not agree with going to war? Her name is Jeannette Rankin, and she's a pacifist. She's a very active pacifist, meaning she's anti-war. She doesn't feel like we should be getting into conflict in general, but she's also a woman who couldn't fight at this time. She felt like it was unfair to condemn others to go and fight when she herself could not go and participate. But because it's almost unanimous, Congress is going to declare war on Japan on December 8th of 1941. We start with an official declaration of war on Japan, and then eventually we'll declare war on both Germany and Italy as well because we are joining the Allied powers. The Allied powers are going to work together until the end of this war. The Soviets, the British, and then what's left of France will be working together not only in Europe to end World War II, but also in the Pacific. None of the allies will be out until the entire war has been won. And they're going to make that commitment to each other. When you talk to the Japanese after the attack on Pearl Harbor, they have regrets about this. They have concerns about, like, why did we do this? Was it the right decision? The United States wasn't in the war, and obviously this attack is going to officially bring them in. And Admiral Yamamoto, who was the one who planned Pearl Harbor, he says, "I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and filled him with a terrible resolve." Like, he woke up we know as a beast for the United States. Our home front is going to be able to turn over. They were not successful in destroying the Pacific Fleet in Pearl Harbor like they had intended. And so Americans are going to be furious. They're going to be looking to punish the Japanese. And that's going to impact not only the way that we fight against the Japanese, but the way that they're treated on our home front within the United States. Okay? So our next steps are going to be to talk about, like, what changes in the U.S.? How does our home front change? And how do we prepare to respond to Pearl Harbor with the Doolittle raid coming up? All right, so we're going to end this screencast here. I hope you have a great night.